The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Welcome to the Jesse Blake Sports Report. Whether this is your first time here, your last time here, or somewhere in between, I appreciate that you're here today so that we can discuss Elias Pettersson trade rumors, which is a very weird thing to say because you usually don't have a top player like this in discussions like this. And it all kicked off on Saturday on Hockey Night in Canada, where Elliot Friedman announced and reported that teams have been calling the Vancouver Canucks about Pettersson because they're hearing how difficult the contract negotiations have been. And they're wondering, hey, is Pettersson on the block? And the Canucks didn't want to comment on the rumors to Mr. Friedman. They didn't give him any quotes back that he could report to the media. So we're all kind of left wondering. And then today we got from the Donnie and Dolly show, we got this little tidbit. They said it's become a distraction now for the Canucks. They're willing to talk and throw a lot of money at Pettersson, but they don't have a willing participant to talk contract with. The Canucks are not getting any indication that he wants to be here long term. There's frustration there. They've got to do their homework when it comes to a trade, not within the next 2 weeks, but sometime during the summer. And that's where we land right now. The Canucks want to keep Pettersson, but Pettersson's camp does not want to talk during the season. So now we get to the point where Pettersson's going to be an RFA during the summer, and then we're going to find out what he wants to do long-term with his career as a Vancouver Canucks. They own his rights, so there's time. It's okay. It's not like he's a UFA and he's going to walk out the door and they're going to lose him for nothing. No, we're not in that situation. But I see this thing playing out in two different ways. One is really scary. One is Matthew Tkachuk 2.0, what happened to Province over in Calgary, where Matthew Tkachuk just decided, I don't want to be a Calgary Flame anymore, left for better pastures in Florida. The Calgary Flames were forced to make a trade where they get back great assets in Mackenzie Weegar and Jonathan Huberdeau, but they lose Matthew Tkachuk. And at the end of the day, you're probably losing the best player in the deal, and you never kind of win trades where you lose the best player in the deal. If that happens where Elias Pettersson comes to the Canucks and he's open and he's honest and he says, I don't want to be here long-term, I'm not going to sign this long-term deal, then we're in the tricky situation where you have to try and find a trade partner. And if you're trading a player like Elias Pettersson, you're probably not going to win that trade. The second way I see this playing out is we take everything at face value. Elias Pettersson is just, I don't want to negotiate in season. I just want to see how this plays out. I'm committed, though, once we get to the offseason, and I like how we had a deep playoff run, hopefully for the Canucks. Canucks fans, I'm rooting for you. Deep playoff run this year. And I'm super happy. I'm going to sign long-term as long as you bring the money. This could all be in negotiation so that he gets the maximum amount of money. I'm in Toronto. I'm a Leafs fan. I know how RFA negotiations go when the player wants a lot of money. Mitch Marner sat out, it was a couple days in training camp, but he got paid. William Nylander sat out. We know that one. All the way to the final date in December. And then he got paid. Elias Pettersson could be pulling a similar move where he's not negotiating now. He's making them sweat. He's making the fan base sweat so that he can get the largest paycheck possible. That is entirely on the table. And these he doesn't want to be here long-term rumors and trade rumors could all be for naught. But there is still the possibility that the other side has some credence to it, that he's making it difficult for them because he's wishy-washy on his future as a Canuck. I don't want that to be the case for the sake of Pettersson as a Canuck. I think he fits perfectly there, as you can see with the team. I think for the fan base, you want him there long terms. And I think that if push comes to shove, the Aquilini family, Jim Rutherford, Patrick Allvin will pull up that Brinch truck, back it out, say, Pettersson, walk in, take all the money you want, because that's what he deserves at this point. I think he's proven enough that the long-term 8-year deal for double digits going to make him the top 3, top 4 highest paid player in the National Hockey League. That is out there for him with the Canucks. And I think if that is there, Pettersson chooses to stay. But we don't know. That's the weird thing about these rumors. There's so much unknown, and that's what makes it interesting. I don't think it's quite time for the let's do a bunch of fake Elias Pettersson trade podcast, but it could be coming soon, depending how the next few months play out with Pettersson and the Canucks and this contract situation. What do you think? Where do you land? Do you see him staying in Vancouver long term? Are you a Canucks fan who hopes he stays and this whole thing gets resolved? Or do you just want to see him go if he doesn't want to be there? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching on the video, tweet at me, Instagram, whatever. If you're listening on audio, don't forget to subscribe and like the video or rate this podcast on your favorite podcast app. That is it for me tonight. I will see you soon. Good night from Toronto.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.